Act 1, Scene 1. This story begins in 2015. The stage is split. At right is Madame Blue's parlor with table and chairs. At left, the stage is empty. Madame Blue enters and faces the audience.
Who knows a man's heart and the dreams that grow there? There is a hidden musician in the chambers, a philanderer, a philosopher, a poor player who struts and frets and frets and struts, listening for the silent syncopation, the downbeat, the upswing, the ghost note, the melody. For the melody creates the destiny, prime the pump, compose the truth, make the boy a man, make the man a star. But alas, even stars are not exempt from suffering, not in this life, and perhaps not in future ones, and as bright as they shine, they will one day go extinct.
A knock is heard, and Madame Blue opens the door.
Mr. Bowie, welcome. Please come in.
Thank you. And please call me David.
Nice to see a humble star. Would you like some tea, David?
Well, that would be delightful, Madam Blue. Or should I just call you Blue?
Madame Blue will do just fine. Why don't you have a seat?
She pours tea for the both of them.
So, David, what brings you here?
Well, I've been dealing with some, shall we say, mortal issues. I say this in the strictest confidence as I don't want this getting out. But I've been diagnosed with liver cancer and have been given a short time to live. I don't know exactly, could be months or a few years. But you know that already. You're a psychic, aren't you? You should know exactly why I am here without me saying a word, shouldn't you?
Not exactly. You see, it takes time, and you need to be open with me. Not just about your actions, but about your feelings. Maybe I'm a different kind of psychic. Do you know much about geology, David?
Geology. Not much, I suppose. Tectonic plates, fault lines, and such. Do you predict earthquakes?
It's a matter of layers. Layers upon layers stretching back in time, and the further down you go, the more you reveal secrets from the past.
Fascinating, I'm sure. But I'm into rock and roll, not rocks. To be frank, I'm not quite seeing the connection. After all, you of all people should not be concerned with the past. I would think the future is your domain.
Well, of course, all psychics talk about the future, but I have always been far more fascinated with the past.
The past. No, no offense intended, Madam Blue, but you sound like a lousy psychic to me. Didn't the past already happen? There's absolutely nothing we can do about it except make an effort to go on in the face of it all.
Past, present, future, these are all one thing, convenient labels. They are as inseparable as night is from day, as their very essence is intertwined. Again, layers, David, much like layers of time. When we peer into the depths of outer space, we are looking into the distant past, which we experience in the present, all hurtling towards a future. But in reality, it's all connected, all one bloody thing. We are, after all, stardust, ashes to ashes, dust to Ziggy Stardust, the same dust that makes the rocks that become the soil that grows the gift of future life. You see, David, my role is not merely to predict the future, but rather to make connections between the points of your life, to help you take responsibility for yourself on a spiritual level. Think of this as a metaphysical journey in which we slowly dissolve the walls between ideas and events, between the past, the present, and future, much like you did with your stage personas, merging fantasy and reality, heaven and hell, all merged. David, I don't read hands or cards, I read souls. I interpret spiritual paths. Now, I don't tell you how to make music, so I expect you to allow me to do my craft the way I see fit. Agreed?
Agreed. For now.
Listen, David, as I've explained, these revelations come to me in waves and layers. So I'll address your mortality in due time. Right now, I want to take you back. I see very clearly the energy you have. I see your dreams, your ambitions, your passions, the passions of a young man, on the precipice of stardom.
Lights fade on Madame Blue and David Bowie at right. At left is revealed a different David Bowie 2, and his friend, George Underwood, seated at wooden benches.
How's everything going with your band? I believe it's the King Bees.
It's all right, but it hasn't helped me with the ladies in the shagging department.
You wouldn't know what to do with the ladies, Davy boy. I'd have to write a bloody manual for you, complete with illustrations.
If you say so, Mr. George Underwood. Besides, I've seen your English grades, and you couldn't write your way out of a bloody paper bag. Anyways, I've been thinking about Buddy Holly. He didn't wait around for something different, he just created it. He was a real wild child with a different sound. That, my friend, is what we need to do. I want to find a new
sound?
Yeah, that's it, mate. I'm searching for a sound.
Yeah, I got this feeling, sort of freewheeling, drumming up inside my soul. I got that notion to sail across the ocean. My future is waiting there. Yeah, I'm just like lightning, just a little frightening. Crank the amps and play.
Lights fade from stage left and move back to illuminate stage right. Scene 2.
That's a beautiful memory, and you captured it perfectly. But what does that have to do with my current circumstances or the future for that matter?
David, regardless of how much time you have left, you're going to have a struggle on your hands. As you struggle, I want you to hold on to that young man, to that wild child, to that energy and unbridled enthusiasm. You are always still him in some sense because despite our struggles and suffering, we are put here to experience hope, joy, happiness, and love. For even as our body and minds decay, our souls continue to evolve in the path it has chosen. You've studied Jung. You know that it is all connected and it's eternal. We go on, David, but the question is, do we remember our past lives and build upon them? Or do we forget them and make the same mistakes over and over again? In other words, do we choose light or darkness?
Very well then, but I think I've learned quite well from my mistakes and I continue to acknowledge them.
Perhaps, but maybe not in all aspects of your life. In particular, things that concern matters of the heart. At the end of the day, or a lifetime, only the heart matters, for it is the physical and metaphysical origin of love.
Well, I'd say I'm doing quite well considering matters of the heart. After all, I married the love of my life, did I not?
Presently, of course, but again, David, the present isn't the only time that exists. Or, put better, there are multiple presents across many lives because time is fluid. We don't so much go through time as it goes through us, like an infinite connected web that attaches everyone and everything across eternity. David, why do you think we as a species invented and grew the internet?
I never really thought about it like that. So what you're implying is we crave a deep connection, and so we use technology to fill a void. Unfortunately, it backfired in grand fashion as we are more atomized than ever. The internet is like an invasive alien species that has taken over our lives and destroyed our souls in the process.
Yes, that's true, but the more important point is the metaphor that it symbolizes the attempt to draw closer, to not only join us in our common journey, but to plug us into the infinite source.
You are talking about God, I take it, Madame Blue.
Well, I'm not talking about Kanye West or Taylor Swift, David. In any event, we must explore how we change over a lifetime and how we change others so we can understand our evolution, our path of learning. And there is no better place for that than in our relationships. There was a time when love did not work out so well for you or your partner. Let's explore that.
Lights fade out on Madame Blue and David Bowie and shift to the other side of the stage, revealing David Bowie II and his wife, Angie Barnett.
David, I came to say something important. Something I've been feeling in the pit of my stomach.
Well, didn't I warn you about eating too much pub food?
Oh God, David, ever the clown, even when it's not appropriate. I am serious. I thought I had it all worked out, and as much as you can work out an entire decade of a marriage or what passes for a marriage. I mean, I thought we were living a dream. But increasingly, it feels more like a nightmare, David, and I can't do this anymore. We cannot be together anymore.
Look, Angie, you needn't say anything. I think we both know things aren't ideal, but Angie, there's no blame, there's no anger here.
No blame? No anger? There's plenty of blame and anger, David. You have destroyed me, psychologically and spiritually.
I think you're being a bit overdramatic, Lady Macbeth.
Oh, overdramatic, overdramatic. The man who invents grandiose characters to hide his insecurities from the entire world, calling me overdramatic? I could never keep up with all of the yous in you.
Maybe I wouldn't have to pretend to be something around you if you weren't constantly torching my soul. You're a bloody human blowtorch.
I'm a blowtorch. I'm out of control. The parties, the groupies, the the endless infidelities, the nonstop drinking and drugs, but most of all, the unshared silence. Your thin white Duke has worn me thin. The golden years are not so golden, David. This is not a life. This is hanging on by your fingertips, and I can't do it anymore. I won't do it anymore. I'll lose what's little left of me. There's simply not enough room in the world for both of us.
Angie, I won't pretend that I'm perfect, or that I haven't made mistakes, perhaps enormous mistakes. But really, it cannot be all my fault. You knew who I was when you married me. You are no child, no ingenue, so don't play the bloody victim here. You've created as much the drama that you find so distasteful, including a bit of the infidelities yourself.
David, I don't want to argue. I don't want to make this contest about extramarital affairs, and I refuse to become part of your ongoing self-imposed drama. It's just over, David.
Angie removes her wedding ring and places it in David's hand, gently folding his fingers around the ring.
So, what are we to do now? We need some time to process this, to let it sink in, you know?
We? David? There is no we. Only this ubiquitous you, so you will have to figure it out. I've got a plane to catch, and I won't be back. Let that sink in.
Let that sink in. Baby, it all sinks into me.
So much to give, so much to endure. For us to live, there is no cure.
There are no reasons we've lost the allure. There's no happy land, my heart's not pure. Sink into me, become who you need to be. It's the only way to be free. Sink into me, sink into me.
I have no regret, though our love wasn't real. It's not another turn on the cosmic wheel.
I can feel your dreams. You can only consume. It's time to adjourn. God knows I'm good.
Sink into me, become who you need to be. It's the only way to be free. Sink into me, sink into me.
Angie exits and lights fade and come up stage right on Madame Blue's parlor. Scene 3.
Okay, I get it. I didn't win the Husband of the Year award, but I was really just a young man. You can't convict me for something I did in my 20s. It was the bloody 70s. Everybody had a drink in one hand and a spoon in the other. Besides, I was a true rebel in my younger years. Who else pushed the boundaries of expression, especially where gender was concerned? That has to count for something, surely.
Of course, David. You did remarkable things to free up emotional space for youth to be themselves, to experiment with gender, identity, and sexuality, and you'll always be remembered for this accomplishment. So it's not a matter of convicting or even judging, David. Rather, it's taking responsibility for your massive ego. The same ego that is convincing you that all insight is tantamount to a personal attack on your existence. The same ego that had you believe your relationship with Angie was only about you, instead of what you could learn from each other. You see, in reality, the universe just wants you to take a closer look at your heart, as well as the hearts of others, because we are all intertwined and our fates are bound together in here. Our greatest sin is seeing others as separate, unconnected to our journeys. This leads to judgment, bigotry, to manipulation and oppression. All of the evils of the world stem from this dynamic. Our original sin was and still is a false belief that we are disconnected from each other, from the infinite source that binds us and sustains us.
And here I was thinking that the lust for money was the root of all evil.
That's an easy out, David, to blame our woes on inanimate objects, on our systems. But those objects and systems are just a projection, a symptom of the underlying disease: separation, otherness.
Well, bloody hell. What am I supposed to do with that information? Look, Madam Blue, I've always been a responsible man. Sure, I've had my excesses, but I'm not a raving lunatic or an irredeemable degenerate. I feel like I have made up for my past by being a better man in the present. But you've placed the weight of the entire universe on my shoulders for things that have already passed.
David, you misunderstand me. I'm not talking about the material world, nor just your behavior. Can't you see how this version of your ego is just a perversion of your true self's capacity for love, or lack thereof it? It's not about your marriage or divorce. At the end of the day, or a lifetime, it all comes down to love. Human love. The universe does not want you to bear its weight on your shoulders. It wants you to release that burden and darkness, turn it over to the infinite broad shoulders of our Creator, to let go of our anger and judgment. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Not entirely. I'm a little bit confused as to the point of your mystical insights. It was a phase, nothing more, nothing less. I've moved on.
But have you really? David, what did you learn from Angie? Look past all the failings, the anger. Look in her heart. Look in yours. What do you feel? What is Angie to you?
Okay, Madam Blue, I will play along. I suppose Angie was just my reflecting my own shortcomings, my insecurities, and my need for unfulfilled love.
Yes, David. And how is that related to the idea of connectedness or lack thereof?
Well, oh spiritual counselor, once we seen ourselves as separate, we invoke fear and we create permission to act in hostile ways. To people who are different, people who have different perspective or ways of living that threaten our fragile images of our identity, that separate us from the eternal source of love.
Yes, David. She was merely a mirror, a reflection of both your divine aspirations and your earthly faults.
Good God. Perhaps she was my mother? Oh, bloody hell, this is getting rather Freudian.
That's okay, David. He was a client in another life, and we will explore your mother later. But I digress. Listen carefully, David. Before you slip into the next dimension, make an effort to fully reconcile with her so that her spirit can be free also. Now, let's continue with this line of exploration of how we affect other people, of how we reflect each other, of how we are intertwined. I want you to see the full impression of your soul. You are no doubt familiar with the band The Velvet Underground, are you not?
Of course. Asking me that is like asking a human being if they breathe air. Why, is Lou Reed here right now? If so, it would be a party, except both of us are sober, so a bit of a tame affair. But what does Lou have to do with anything, especially my death?
I'm asking because of the song I'll Be Your Mirror. I'm sure you know the lyrics, correct?
When you think the night has seen your mind, that inside you're twisted and unkind, let me stand to show that you are blind. Yes, but I thought we resolved the issues with Angie. I promised to make spiritual amends to reflect my better self.
Yes, David, but remember, there are many layers that we live in and many reflections. As I told you, the problem of karma occurs when we live a new life and forget what happened in the past. Because when we do so, we are doomed to make the same mistakes and ride on the cosmic wheel. The ride on the cosmic wheel never stops, nor does our seemingly endless suffering, because they become conscious choices.
Well, I've presumably barely managed this life, and now we are talking about others? Kind of overwhelming, no?
If you see it that way, David, yes. Remember that they are all one thing. Separation is the grandest illusion. For now, I want to look at another issue emanating from your soul. I want you to talk about Ziggy Stardust.
Ziggy? Just a character I created to hide my insecurities. You don't need to be a psychic to know that. Angie taught me that, as we just discussed.
It's deeper than that, David. These personas, much like the people in your life, are not just mirrors, but emotional archetypes, if you will. So while it's okay to hide occasionally, we must be careful lest we get lost in our bunkers of safety without a door to ever escape.
Lights fade out on Madame Blue and David Bowie and shift to the other side of the stage, revealing another David Bowie as Ziggy Stardust.
Greetings, Earthlings, or should I say...
Bowie takes out a vial of cocaine, takes the cap off, and snorts dramatically.
Damn you, Earthlings! You have poisoned your oceans, polluted your minds. You have feasted on blood and gore, made diabolical machines from monstrous dreams, and turned your brother to war. With one push of a button, you'll be permanently shut in a radioactive room for a tomb. And yet, you laugh like pathetic clowns. Well, the laughing is over. The magical mystery tour is winding down. The soft parade is nothing but a whisper. I have come here to warn you of the apocalyptic catastrophe that is about to occur on this planet. It is inevitable. This planet, as of today,
Bowie pulls out vial, snorts dramatically.
has 5 years before its imminent demise.
In the Garden of Eden, there was perfect harmony.
Lights fade from Ziggy Stardust and shine back on David and Madame Blue. Scene 4.
Well, I guess that's not the best look, but I'm an artist. I was just being creative. That's the bloody job of an artist, isn't it? Besides, I killed off Ziggy long ago. I live on Earth now, and will probably never know if there is life on Mars.
No one is denying your ability to be creative. I mean, you're David Bowie, you're the best. Your aura is so full of beautiful color and energy, but inside, there is a blackness, a darkness, a pervading sense of guilt. You, in some sense, took the weight of the world upon yourself. While Ziggy was the outward manifestation of this complex, we must find the source of this guilt.
Well, that was many years ago. I don't think my extravagant characters from the 70s are relevant to my current situation.
Ah, but there is something more recent that you have yet to fully grasp. David, have you ever noticed that you were visited by a bluebird at your apartment?
Well, yes. I guess I have noticed that. I see one every morning out on my balcony. Bloody hell, you are a psychic! Wait a minute. Is this some sort of insight into my fear of flying?
Perhaps your fear of flying is connected, perhaps not. We may have to revisit that. In any case, the universe doesn't just send bluebirds to everyone. They are magical creatures that embody softness, serenity, and loyalty. They indicate an important human bond. Does a bluebird mean anything to you personally?
Well, Charles Bukowski wrote a poem I'm a big fan of called Bluebird. Bukowski said, "There's a bluebird in my heart that wants to get out, but I'm too tough for him. I say, stay in there. I'm not going to let anybody see you."
But David, I see something more, something deeper. I see the pain. David, tell me about your brother, Terry.
What's there to tell? He was mad and in the depths of his illness committed suicide. I have moved on.
Yes, David, he died, but the guilt, the darkness is still very much alive in your heart. You've got to live a full life while your brother never got the chance to truly live. None of this is your fault, but I don't think you've forgiven him or yourself. It's a bit like the tale, The Princess and the Pea, because no matter how much you try to insulate yourself beneath layers of time and experience, you still feel it pressing into your being. David, let's look deeper into your heart.
Lights fade out on Madame Blue and David Bowie and shift to the other side of the split stage, revealing Terry Jones in an all-white institutional outfit.
There are no more chances for me. Not for love, not for freedom, not for life. There is no home, only darkness. Only the all-consuming darkness. Where do you stuff the darkness that comes bubbling out of the soul container? Do you roll it tight like a mass-produced cigarette, or do you pack it like surgical material so it to staunch the inevitable bleeding? My shadows mocks him, a plaything of abbreviated afternoons, smothered by inky nights. Do I dare rage against the dying of the light? Forgive me, David, my dear brother, as I have forgiven you for forsaking me in this hellhole. Your visits, the letters, the postcards, and the phone calls have dwindled, stopped. My only light, gone. I can bear this sound and fury no more. My bluebird will never fly free on Earth. Perhaps we'll meet again, David, on the Elysian fields or the red-dusted hills of Mars.
The floor lights turn off. The digital screen lights up, revealing a train at night headed toward the audience. bell clanging, engine chugging, whistle blowing, getting louder and louder with a bright light shooting through the darkness. Terry stands up, turns around, and walks towards the train into the light. As the train is about to smash into Terry, the screen turns off and the stage goes dark momentarily. Then a spotlight moves back to Bowie and Madame Blue.
Oh, dear God. I see it. No, I feel it now. I'm still carrying that weight. And it's been a long time. But I don't understand it all, Madame Blue. If God is love, why would Terry forced to endure such suffering? He spent his life in a veritable hell. Why was he so unfairly punished?
David, I know this is difficult for you, for all of us, really. But the truth is that nothing is imposed upon us any lifetime. We choose our paths, our journeys with free will. The good, the bad, the beauty and ugliness, the light and the darkness. We choose it all so we can learn to be free from all the pain and suffering. Ironically, can you let him and yourself go free?
Stage lights fade and a spotlight shines on David Bowie. The stage screen features images of a bluebird flying from the ground up through the clouds into the far reaches of outer space.
Long, long at last, you're free from now and the past. You're free from this insidious spell, free from the pain and the fires of hell, and the fires of hell, free from this life and all of its ache, free from the demons that you couldn't shake, soaring above in the deep blue sky, surrounded by love, you fly, fly, bluebird, fly, past the stars in the sky, fly, bluebird, fly. You're so free, you're so free. Nightmares are gone as you spread your wings and start on your dawn, and the angels sing. And now, my brother, the voice that will cease. I'll go on with my show, but you're finally free. Fly, bluebird, fly, past the stars in the sky. Fly, bluebird, fly. You're so free, you're so free.